Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 8-Bit Adventures podcast, bringing you the latest and greatest geeky news of the week. I'm your host, Sean Hayes, and with me is a very special guest for this episode, Kiyeberries, premier Heroes of the Storm, Pokemon Unite, and horse game streamer.
Absolute, yes, horse game all the time. Thank you for putting that one in.
Took me the longest time to figure out what that actually meant because I kept missing the streams.
Oh, yeah, so you didn't hear the part where every once in a while I'll be like, yeah, when I say horse game, I mean Red Dead Online, but I usually just call it horse game.
So we're here this week to actually talk about Pokemon Unite because in addition to the Pokemon Direct today, Blissey dropped all sorts of stuff. It's still a relatively new game. Blastoise is still lurking out there.
There was actually a lot today for just Pokemon Unite. We had a balance patch, like a major balance patch. Blissey came out. Blastoise is still lurking somewhere in the shadows, and the next two Pokemon were also announced at the Direct with Mamoswine and Sylveon. So a lot happened for Unite.
Yeah. But before we get into that, just to give a little bit of background on yourself for my audience. So you sort of came onto my radar for guests actually like kind of years ago for Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I follow Kyle Ferguson, Garrett Weinzierl, Jocelyn Moffat, like a lot of those folks.
Kyle is
Jules
amazing.
Scott.
Jules also amazing. These are some good humans that you've referenced. Yeah.
And so it's sort of your name came up a bit just regarding Heroes of the Storm stuff. And then we weren't doing guests for a while just due to some previous guests that we had.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Okay.
But then Pokemon Unite came out, and around the same time, my co-host is taking some time off. And that was also around the time that Aeos Clubhouse started up. So do you want to just talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so Kyle's an amazing person that brings people together. I met him, and Jules is involved too. Look at this is all just a big lump of people. But I met him some years ago. I mean, I've known him in HOTS. Can you not, sir? But I've known of Kyle for a while, and then Heroes Hearth put together this like streamer tournament. It's like the precursor to CCL, which is like their premier like pro league right now for Heroes of the Storm. So it was the Celebrity Clash League. Kyle was on one team, I was on another team, but we got to play together a little bit, and I was like, this guy is so cool. And after the Celebrity Clash League, we were putting together a team for a different for fun league in HOTS called NGS, Nexus Gaming Series. The team I was on needed an offlaner. Kyle had played offlane in the Celebrity Clash League, and I was like, Kyle's so cool. He played so well. Like, his Zool was so good, and his Urel, we should get him. So we got Kyle on, and I've kind of been playing in like for fun groups with Kyle since then. It feels like 2 years now on and off that we've just been playing on different teams. He had me as a guest on Into the Nexus a couple times, which was really fun. And then when Unite was announced, we were still playing on a team together, and he was like, hey, we should do a Unite podcast. We're all going to play it. We all love MOBAs. He's like the godfather of podcasts. He has his fingers in every game, it seems. Yeah. And he's like, I want to do a Unite podcast. Do you want to be on it? And he has done so much of the work to put Aeos Clubhouse together. I think my only moment was actually naming it. Other than that, I think Kyle did most of everything. He's so awesome. But that's how Aeos Clubhouse came to be. It was Kyle's kind of brainchild. He brought Mockery and I in, and it's been so good. It's been a blast. We've had so much fun putting it together, talking about the game, playing the game. It just has been a great experience that will continue.
Yeah. So folks, if you're listening to this podcast and you're like, oh, this sounds great, where can I get more of it? I encourage you to check out Aeos Clubhouse. It's on I can't imagine it wouldn't be on any podcasting service.
It's in all of the places. Yeah, it's
And it's
on
also
Apple, it's on Spotify.
on Twitch.
Yes, we do a recording on Twitch. All three of us who are on it are streamers, so we mostly all stream our POV. But Kyle's channel, Kyle Ferguson, has like the main feed where he has all the cool like graphics and pop-ups, and is just awesome. There's a YouTube. If you go to the Aeos Clubhouse Discord, this is a lot of things, but if you go to the Discord, it has a channel with a link to all the places you can get the feed. But it comes up pretty quick if you just Google it too. Kyle
Okay.
has done a great job of getting it out there onto the internet, but it
Some
is
good
pretty much
SEO.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good at this. He's got some experience.
Okay. Cool. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, yeah, let's dig into to the meat of this balance patch and Blissey and all that stuff in there.
Yeah, it was a pretty hefty patch. A couple buffs, a lot of nerfs. I think the defender mains are sad or crying since Snorlax and Slowbro both got nerfs.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that, and I don't know if the games that I was watching today. I mean, they had to have applied the patch in order to play.
Oh yeah, it went out last night.
Okay. I didn't really see that much of a difference, but I'm also not very good at the game, so
No. I kind of feel like this is gonna feel a lot like the Eldegoss nerf that was in the last balance patch, where it was a nerf, but it was like kind of a deserved nerf. So the character still feels good and playable. They're just not as overwhelmingly OP as they were, right? Like Surf on Slowbro needed a nerf. It
oh, for
needed
sure, yeah,
something. Like Snorlax needed nerfs all over the place because he's insane. So
yeah.
they're still
I
gonna
have
feel good and playable, and you're probably still gonna see them in most games. They're just not as overwhelming as they were,
yeah,
probably especially Slowbro.
yeah. I've been playing Snorlax in quick matches, and even without, I think the only item that I had maxed out was Buddy Barrier, which I didn't even end up using my ult most of the time. Just like letting it sit there and just forgetting that I have it. Still, just absolutely complete denial of scoring.
Yeah, so mobile, so much damage, so tanky, so much CC. He was just amazing at everything, and he still probably is really good at everything. He just, took the dial from 11 to 9. He's still great, but just like tone it down a little bit, buddy.
Yeah. So yeah, do we think, is it too soon to tell if the balance patch is going to have a huge effect?
It came out last night at my time, 2 in the morning, so it's not been a day yet. And
Yeah.
the thing with the patch notes that we get from Pokemon Unite is they have no numbers. They're incredibly
awful.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're hilarious. The Japanese patch notes, if you can get them translated, we had somebody help us translate them, are a little better, but still they don't have any actual values or anything. So how intense a nerf really is, you won't know until people have played it. Some people can try to either
You somehow ended up muted. Hold on one sec, but we are experiencing technical difficulties. So to fill air, is we've certainly had a lot of different sort of right? Yeah, it's not an 8-bit adventures podcast without sound issues. Yeah, it's the patch notes. I mean, some of this stuff is just nonsensical as to how utterly useless things are. It'll say like move downgraded. Like that's literally like what's in the patch notes. Bug fixes, but it won't tell you what bug fixes there are.
How about now?
There we go.
Okay, the NVIDIA RTX software just closed for no reason. So I
Aaron
think I've got it
Engineer
now.
in the chat asks, is Gengar still OP? I would say no.
He's good, but not OP. He got his nerf last patch.
Yep.
And so he's still good. You still see him a bunch, but I wouldn't say he's OP. The OP jungler after Gengar was nerfed was Greninja, and I think he also caught a nerf last night. So I'm not sure yet if we figured out if he's still OP or not at the moment.
It was so Smokescreen got a nerf. I don't
And
know if
Smokescreen's crazy because it has like 6 different interactions on that ability.
Yeah.
It does so many different things. So that nerf is probably going to take a second to shake out with how impactful it is because you have to think of all the different things that it does.
Yeah. I know Water Shuriken, which was my go-to because I was trying to use builds that I found on the internet and nobody apparently knew how to do anything.
Oh no.
So I was always picking Water Shuriken over Surf, which I don't know. I guess that's off meta. But that
I
got
don't
buffed.
actually know. Okay, so maybe now you're in. Maybe you'll be in meta.
Maybe. It looks like it's more of a skill shot than Surf is. And like it doesn't have the cooldown reduction, but I think it has sustain.
Those kind of changes we probably won't know until, I don't know, the weekend.
Yeah.
How impactful they are, where people get to play with them a little bit. People get to like actually suss out how much the number changes were. It'll take a second, but at least as of yesterday, your OP jungler ganker who took over Gengar's spot was Greninja. So we'll see if that's still the case. I don't know.
And in full disclosure to the audience was I actually had state of the game post patch in the show notes before the patch drop today. So originally it was supposed to be and I didn't know that it was going to drop today until like we got word of it a couple days ago.
They don't give a lot of notice that it's going to be a patch all of a sudden.
So initially it was supposed to talk about like the last patch, which was like 2 weeks.
Yeah, about 2 weeks. Yeah. I think it was the 16th when they were like, "Hey, by the way, patch on the 18th."
Yep. But I mean that's typical for Nintendo and the Pokemon Company.
Yeah, they don't like to. They just tell you. Here it is, okay? But when I was trying to fix my mic and you had said the patch notes being vague, my favorite one, even worse than move decreased, is ability changed.
Oh yeah.
Changed to what? Up, down, left, right? What does ability changed mean? You don't get to know. Just ability changed.
We got this one for Garchomp. Movement speed changed.
Yeah, that's what is that? That's like, at that point, why are you even putting out patch notes? I don't know what you expect anyone to glean from that information. But yeah, the patch notes are hilariously bad.
Yeah. But and to the point being, like in the Japanese notes, it was movement speed increased because I think he got a buff. So
I don't know if it's a localization problem, but it feels like almost like a joke that they're being so intentionally vague. Like they have to work harder to remove all of this information. It would be so much easier just to copy paste like whatever changes you made. But no, they've actually taken the time to dissect out every piece of useful information.
Yeah.
That it's like almost a meme at this point, but I don't think that will change anytime soon.
Yeah, and it's weird because I don't know who would do the localization because like Nintendo publishes it for Switch.
Yeah, so it's so weird how many fingers are in this game because
Pokemon
obviously
Company is going to publish it for mobile, and then it's Tencent or one of Tencent Studios is developing. So I don't know like if they would do localization.
I forget their name, Hyphy or whatever. I forgot the name. It comes up all the time, and I just have a small brain, so I don't remember. But they have one of their studios, and then Tencent also has their fingers in it. And then also you have, I think the Pokemon Company works on it too, and then Nintendo. I have no idea. There's so many different studios involved. It's got to be like one intern on the weekend who's doing it, and they're just like, whatever, man, move changed. That's it.
Yep. So in addition to that, we got Blissey today. I know pre-show you said you had gotten a chance to play Blissey. I did not.
Yeah, a little bit. It took some work because everybody is insta picking Blissey, to be expected. So I had to play several games to bang out 3 Blissey games. But
Yep.
I played 3 Blissey games to my name, 2 against bots, 1 against people. So
How do we feel?
so it's interesting. She definitely feels strong.
Mm-hmm.
As support characters in MOBAs do tend to be very impactful to the game around them, just by virtue of denying kills. There's not a lot of healing in this game, so having any healing, buffing, any CC that they might have, you tend to have fewer supports or healers on a roster. Like if you look at the other MOBAs, the fewest will always be the healers. So she feels good and impactful, but she's so different from Eldegoss. They definitely fit different places in the game. Um, I feel like Eldegoss has this like big healing output, mostly AoE healing and shielding as well. Like even her targeted heal has an AoE component at the end. So she feels really great in the big messy team fights like down at Dreadnought or at Zapdos where everybody's in a big pile and you're able to heal 5 people at once. Her Unite move, Cotton Cloud Crash, when you come down, you can heal everybody and that just feels great. Blissey only has single target healing, so those big messy team fights don't feel as great with her. However, her targeted healing is really good. She does have that attack speed, movement speed buff, which feels great, buffing your DPS. And then her Unite move, Bliss Assistance, is also a heal, a buff, a knockback, has a lot going on. But it feels great, again, on like your hyper carry where you can run to them, you can give them a shield, and then you can also buff them with it. And that feels really great. So if you're focused on one person or maybe 1 or 2 people, Blissey feels really good. She feels great to like enable a hyper carry.
How likely do we think dual support comp is going to be part of the meta?
I mean, at first I was gonna say no because I was just afraid there's not really enough damage if you take both of them. But
Yeah.
as was pointed out to me, every other MOBA has a double support meta at some point. Um, all of them. So you'd need somebody who can do a lot of damage in the late game who can really benefit from those Blissey damage buffs.
Yeah.
Some ideas that have been floated around that I've seen are Greninja, but then also like Cinderace or even Garachomp, who can really work well with attack speed bonuses. It'll happen. It'll probably happen. It's happened everywhere else. We just have to accept it.
Not as great as our 4 support team that we did once in HOTS.
Oh gosh, yeah, in HOTS we have 4 supports and 1 hyper carry. We did that with a Zul'jin once. It's hilarious. We're not there yet. We need a couple more healers. We need to get like Miltank maybe.
Yep. We we queued up with 4 of us, and then we got a random person that poor soul got thrown in with us weirdos.
Poor soul, or he probably felt very protected, right? Very like, wow, this is the.
It was, let's see, a Tassadar, a Tyrande, an Uther, and I don't remember who the 4th support was at that point.
I'm gonna guess Rhaegar. I'm gonna guess.
Yes,
Rhaegar.
it was.
It usually is in those comps.
And then it was a Lunara got thrown in with us.
Nice.
I mean, this was a while ago. This was like before.
Yeah, probably that was like
changed.
Old Tassadar. Old Tassadar,
yeah,
right?
It was Old Tassadar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we ended up winning. That was the
well, you could never die, so I feel
it was we were losing hard before we hit level 10, and then we all got our ults, and then it was the whole game got flipped on its head. But yeah, I don't know if you could do that in this game. I don't know if you could.
Yet.
I don't know if you
Not
could
yet.
run Mr. Mime and Wigglytuff along with the fake supports along with the real supports.
That you can do. They're not supports. I made a heated argument yesterday that we really need to have those 2 relabeled. They're not supports in any way you look at that word. They're not supports, and it's a disservice to their characters to have them labeled that way, because I think a lot of people who would enjoy playing them aren't, because they're like, oh, I don't want to play a healer, or we already have a healer, I can't play Wigglytuff. And it's like, no, you can and you should.
Yeah, I don't know if it if it warrants like including another category, or if just
Just
like
I would
tweaking their
just change
stats a little
them.
bit and just making them all
My
arounders.
especially after Wigglytuff last patch, not yesterday, but the previous one, she got the defense, health, and I think special defense buff. So she became super tanky and thick. So I've heard arguments for making Wigglytuff straight up a defender. I think I would make her an all-arounder if I were in charge. If I ran the world, I would make Wigglytuff an all-arounder. And then Mr. Mime is he's an attacker. Like he's just a damage dealer. Like look at him.
Yeah.
But the the tinfoil hat theory is that they were made supports because it would have been weird to launch the game with just one support, just a category with one Pokemon in it. Like
Yeah.
that would be weird. So they just stuck two in there that looked like supports but are not. So I'm hoping someday as we get more actual supports, they would be comfortable relabeling those because it's stupid. It's Wigglytuff is not a support. She's a slap master.
Yep.
She does so
and
much damage. It's
debuffer.
actually nuts. Yeah, she's
Like
actually nuts.
So actually, I mean, that was one of the other things that I had in the show note was Pokemon that we'd liked. So we did get announcements for Mamoswine, Sylveon, Blastoise was previously announced. But are there any others that we'd like to see, or any interesting concepts like carried over from the core Pokemon games that might be interesting in here? I've brought up like sort of a Giga Drain Leech Seed type support or defender maybe that like focuses on draining HP.
Yeah,
That's a core thing.
that could be very cool. I've heard people say they won't do another grass type healer, but I think that's types don't even matter here, so why not? I think
Yeah.
that could be cool. Miltank is the meme support request. Everybody wants it to be Miltank.
Except Miltank would be, I mean, if we're basing it on Whitney's Miltank, that's an all-arounder.
Yeah,
Or
but
just
I
straight
think
out
the idea of
attacker.
just shooting milk at people is what everyone's hyped for. If I were giving my actual support, though, that I would like to see the next one would be Hatterene. I think the fairy types have a lot of moves
Yeah.
that would work really well as a healer, as a support, and then Hatterene just looks really cool. It's a pretty popular Pokemon from Sword and Shield, so I think that would be my pick for next support if it was anything I could be, it would be Hatterene.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking Gorgeist or Trevenant
Oh,
as one of the Leech Seed users.
yeah.
Just have a weird ghost plants.
That using a ghost plant and then doing leech seed, like that whole kind of leaning into the vampire thing.
Yeah.
I think that works.
Or with that, like Trevenant, you could make him like just a straight out attacker all arounder and just be built around sustain using drain type moves.
Only healing yourself and not so much healing others. I could totally see that.
I'm mad that they made Venusaur like an attacker instead of making Venusaur bulky, since that's another build
I
that
was
you can
kind of
do.
surprised that Venusaur was the attacker and Blastoise was going to be the defender. I feel like I would have flipped that around. He literally has cannons on his back. That just screams attacker to me.
Yeah, or like all arounder and have Charizard be a speedster, since
Yeah.
that's typically how Charizard's played in competitive.
Poor Charizard. He's not doing too good right now.
No.
They even buffed him, and it was not enough of a buff.
Yeah, I've thought about playing him, but every time I play against him, it's like it doesn't matter who I'm playing as. I mean, it could be Crustle.
I get
Snorlax.
Since I'm mostly Eldegoss and I'm mostly bottom, I'm there with all the baby Charmanders, and those first two, Charmander and Charmeleon, are it's such a struggle. Can't win any fight. Its damage is so low. Yeah. Even against like the wild Pokemon, the lane minions, it's just such a struggle with little Charmander.
I also think like the Blaze, Overgrow, Torrent abilities that they gave a lot of the starters don't seem great.
Now most of the starters are
just like how they are in the base games. They're terrible abilities.
Yeah, the babies, it's not great. It's not a good time.
Yeah.
But you kind of get that where with all of the 3-stage Pokemon in Unite right now, their third stage, like think of like Gardevoir, right? Ralts is just completely useless. But then once we get to Gardevoir, and once we get to Gardevoir with her Unite move, she can one combo kill pretty much anybody.
Yeah.
Like I think only like maybe Snorlax can walk away from a full Gardevoir combo. So
Yeah.
she gets there. It just takes a little bit of growing.
And I think she got buffed too.
Yeah,
On
which
top
is
of that.
not necessary. Yeah, that was not necessary. But
I
yes.
can't remember if she got buffed or it was something got tweaked where it wasn't working. Or both, I think. Something where like the special defense on her basic attacks like wasn't procking.
Yeah, that's what it was. You're right. Where her thing that stripped special defense didn't proc. So that is a buff if that wasn't working before and it is now. Because if she's now removing more special defense, she's gonna hit even harder.
Yep. Yeah, I'm certainly curious to see the three that they announced: Blastoise and Mamoswine and Sylveon. I would have pegged Sylveon for being a support, but apparently, from what I've seen from supposed data mining, is like another attack, like special attacker.
Yeah, I kind of figured
with
he
hyper
would be.
voice.
Attackers just get people excited.
Yeah. Mamoswine seems defendery.
Mamoswine's one of my favorite, if not my favorite Pokemon. So I'm really excited for it to be Mamoswine. But yeah, he looks more defendery, maybe all arounder, like a bruiser.
Yeah.
But I was also surprised how much of his abilities appeared to be rock abilities, earth abilities, rather than ice.
Yeah. Unless did they show all the abilities when they did the reveal?
They don't show all of the abilities.
Okay.
No, it was
so
the
they
same
might
with
be
Blissey.
off spec ones.
I
Or
think
alternate
Blissey, they
choices.
only showed like maybe 3 of her abilities. So
let's see. Chat says Metagross, Magneton.
that's true, no steel type.
Yeah.
Steelix! Start with Onyx and get Steelix. That could be cool.
That would be tough. Because it's
He's
just
very
so
large.
long and snaky.
He is very large, it's true, but he's very cool looking.
So Rotom they can't do, presumably, because Rotom's a boss on the map. Unless they start introducing other maps, but I think that would be weird.
They'll probably, well, I was gonna say they'll probably do other maps, but that's coming from the Heroes of the Storm side of my brain. From the League of Legends side of the brain, they actually probably won't do other maps, but they could change out who the bosses are pretty easily. If they keep their placement the same, it almost doesn't even matter what they look like because everybody knows, go bottom for whatever is bottom. Go top for whatever is top. As long as the mechanics and placement are the same, they could change it to whoever and who cares.
Yeah. Oh, have they? I mean, they just announced. I guess we'll have to see if with Sylveon you start as Eevee.
Yeah, they did not specify. They just showed, as they do with every Pokemon, they don't show their starter forms. They just show them in their final form. So like with Blissey, they didn't show Chansey at all. You start as Chansey, but it wasn't in the video. So we don't know with Sylveon. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't though. I wouldn't be surprised if Sylveon is just like Snorlax or Mr. Mime, where it's just Sylveon the whole time. Because I don't know if they want to deal with the whole evolution thing.
Yeah. I'm still holding out hope for my prediction in that it'll be one base form that just has very boring abilities, and then you branch out.
It would be very cool, but I doubt it very much.
Or so to clarify that, like you're picking the final form when you start the match, so like you're not making that choice in match, but
then your well, I guess your opponents would know because they see your team when they load in.
Yeah.
But then what if you have multiple evolutions on the team and they're all little EVs running around and you're like, which one is which?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past that to not be listed as a problem.
That's true.
Based on how we get patch notes and
it could be
other aspects of the game.
You just load into the game, you're like, what is this? I don't know. It could be anything. Figure it out.
With our 14 types of currency.
Yeah, that's a very mobile game thing though. If you play other mobile games, having weird, obtuse currencies to confuse you into how much money you're spending is very mobile game.
Mm-hmm. So this is perhaps a selfish question for my own personal benefit. Are there better choices for picking a Pokemon for solo queuing versus team queuing?
I'm sure there is for every role. I'm most familiar with healer with support, but yeah, totally. Like just from the support perspective, if I was solo queuing, which I will be later tonight, I would probably take Eldegoss. She's got more AoE healing. You don't have to worry about your carry being good because like that's the thing with Blissey. If you take Blissey and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna hyper carry this Cinderace, and the Cinderace you don't know turns out to be really bad,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, oh no, my whole character is now useless. All these buffs I provide for this one person isn't doing the work. So now what? So for a solo queue, I would probably always lean towards Eldegoss unless you're very confident that your rando teammates are going to perform. And I'm sure there's similarities like that with every role. I'm trying to like I
So
think for the
my
tanks, I've heard people say similar. Like
mhm,
for randos, Snorlax is just so good and he can do so much.
yeah,
But then in organized team comps, you can do some really cool things with Crustle.
yeah. I say this because I was doing a run on ranked, and it seemed like every match. So like I also main Eldegoss, because I mained Tyrande and Tassadar in Heroes of the
Gotcha.
Storm. So
Heals,
weird
yes.
healers, uh, or questionable healers. Um, so I was like, oh great, like somebody that applies shields, does a little bit of healing, this that, cool. Um, not great experience solo queuing with Eldegoss. And then switching to stuff like Greninja, and having a much more success. Um, and I don't know if it's also different, like depending on where you fall on the ladder.
I think that will as well. So I've mainly solo queued. I've had a couple wonderful nights where I get to play in like a 5 stack, but for the most part, um, I'm I'm solo and I mean Eldegoss, and I've gotten up to I'm trying to remember in Unite terms, Diamond 2, so what that's Ultra 4. So I've done okay as Eldegoss only. Um, but there's definitely games where you're like, I don't know what I can do with you with this what I have to
Yeah.
work with. I cannot support this. But unlike HOTS and like League of Legends, Unite is a game where you have individual XP. So the capacity to carry and hyper carry as a single person is much higher. Because if you do your farm correctly and you don't get ganked, you can be levels above everybody around you and you can use that to win team fights and win objectives. So I think definitely the junglers especially because they're usually the one getting the most XP and the highest on the team and the one performing those ganks have the higher capacity to carry games solo. So if you feel like that's what you need to do, you're like my teammates are always Garbo and I need to carry, the junglers are probably going to be the position to do that. So like your Greninja, your Zeraora, Absol, even still Gengar.
Snorlax.
Snorlax jungle, that's become a thing.
I
Like
really want to try that sometime.
one guy manifested that into existence, and now that's a thing. I've also seen Wigglytuff jungle, so I mean, sure, live your best life there. Um, but yeah, the way XP works in this game, just like with League of Legends, I definitely think it leans more towards if you want to be like you want to be the carry,
Yeah.
you have more ability to do that here than you would in HOTS.
Okay. Yeah, I think that might be the other. Is I'm still getting used to mechanics like last hit.
Yeah, that's a big
Because my
change.
only experience has been HOTS outside of
Right.
this.
And so if we're both support and you're playing Eldegoss, you don't really want to be last hitting ever.
Yeah.
You want your carries to be fed more than you. And if you have XP share, even more so, you want to be the lowest level on your team as much as possible to get the value out of XP share, which can be so frustrating because I have teammates who also seem to not know how that works. And so I'm like the little like the APOM will be like this much health left and I'm not touching it and they're not touching it and we're staring at each other and I'm like Charmander, I need you to do this. Like please get the XP. And he's just like, "No, I want you to have the XP." And they think they're helping and it's like, "Stop."
I have had more matches than I care to admit where Gengars have had XP share.
Oh no, that's so weird.
Yep.
They must just not know what it's for. They must not know, because they should be the highest XP on the team.
I don't know
so
if like they didn't read the description and they just looked at the name and said, "Oh, so if I
wanna share
grab
other
this,
people's,
it'll
but yeah.
share XP with everybody."
Yeah, I'm sure they do not know what it does. That
Yeah.
has to be.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got on. Oh. So speaking of Eldegoss. Now this was before, so I had this before Blissey came out. Great Pokemon or greatest Pokemon?
I mean, before Blissey came out, at least she's the greatest healer because there were no other ones. She was the greatest support because she was really the only one, which was such a weird, awkward place to be in.
Yeah.
For any game to only have one character in a role. So strange. But I felt like she was very good, even after her little nerf that she got. She deserved that nerf. Having healing when the other team doesn't is huge.
Oh, for sure.
And sustain is a big deal. That, if you can have somebody like Zeraora run in and he's gonna try to combo your whole back line and you're like, not today, Zeraora. That's a big thing. So she was very powerful. Most of the like top 100 players who put out tier lists would have Eldegoss in S tier or A tier at the worst. So she was very good. And I still think, like we talked about a little earlier, even with Blissey out, for things like solo queue and like ladder climbing as a healer, I think Eldegoss will be better than Blissey for that. She puts out more raw healing, and the way she heals is just kind of more conducive to the messy fights that you get in uncoordinated teams when you're playing solo. I've only played 3 Blissey games, so I might change my mind. But after 3 Blissey games, I do like her, but I feel like she just works better with a more organized team where you know who your hyper carry is and you know you can rely on them to actually hyper carry and enabling that kind of gameplay. She's great at that. But with strangers where you don't really know what comp you're getting at all, you might not get. I had one game where we didn't have like we had like all arounders. We didn't actually have like a good hard damage carry, and it was like, oh god. But it worked out. But I think she'll be better for more organized play. So as far as like solo ladder play, I think Eldegoss is still really great, and the king support for that. Plus, she got a hollower. She got a skin, and we all know that skins get wins.
Yep.
Because Blissey doesn't have one yet, but Eldegoss has bows.
Does she have 2 skins?
She has one. She just
has
got
one
it last night.
Okay.
It's the one with the bows stuck into her cotton fluff.
I did see that. I thought I missed another one somewhere.
No, it's the only one.
By that logic, Greninja has 2 skins.
So does Pikachu now.
Yeah, Pikachu's gonna have like 40 skins. They're gonna have a different one every time they do an event, I'm sure.
Yeah. I'm so surprised that a lot of the event skin Pikachu skins that already exist from the other games, like Pokemon Go, has to have like 30 Pikachu skins at this point.
Yep.
And yet our 2 Pikachu skins are completely new.
Aaron Engineer is asking, Lucha Pika yet? Nope. No Lucha Pika.
That's what I mean. No Lucha Pika. None of the Pikachus that we've had in other games. These are brand new. It's the hoodie Pikachu from the Battle Pass, and then this one I think is called Fashionable Style. He's got like a little straw hat with flowers and a little coat. It's very dapper.
Here's a thought. What do you think the turnaround time is for meme comps where we start to see things like Blissey hyper carrying Wigglytuff to just slap everybody silly?
I mean, let's go. We don't have enough Pokemon, especially ones that are memes. Like we don't have our real meme like Abathurs. And I don't know if we'll ever have something quite as memey as Abathur. He's very unique in all MOBAs. But in that same vein, we don't have our Lost Vikings or our League of meme characters. I haven't played League in years, but like Shaco was a meme last time I was there. So I don't know if we have enough meme characters yet to make truly silly comps. Although I could see having all 4 supports on one team because Mr. Mime and Wigglytuff are just damage. Wigglytuff could be a defender or all-arounder, depending. So she's very tanky. She could be up there. And then you've got your 2 actual supports, and then you're going to pick whoever they're hyper carrying. It could be the Wigglytuff, and you could throw like a Crustle in there, or it could be
Snorlax.
like a yes, exactly.
And then
Hyper
just
carry
nobody
jungle.
dies ever.
Hyper carry jungle Snorlax. Let's go.
I think we've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could work. Like, honestly, it doesn't sound terrible. I've seen worse. I know I've seen
all
worse.
pink team. So what would that be? That would be
Slowbro, Wigglytuff, Blissey. Do we have any other pink characters? Just those 3, right?
I don't think we do. Oh, Mr. Mime.
I mean, he's got pink. He's kind of pink. So
Yeah, his color palette's
we need
mainly pink.
We need one more.
One more.
People have data mined or say they've data mined. We don't know if it's true or not, but they say they've data mined Clefable. So that would get you another pink oval if that's what you're into.
Oh, so when Sylveon comes out.
There you go. Yeah, she's very pink.
Yep. With the ribbons.
Sylveon disturbs me because those ribbons are made of flesh, and like that's not okay.
I wonder if they're not flesh, but like.
So I didn't think they were flesh. I thought they were regular clothing ribbons for the longest time from the main series games until her model in Pokemon Go came out, and they're just like these thick tubes, and they're the same color as the rest of her skin, and it's like, oh no, those are flesh ribbons, aren't they? That's gross. So I didn't think it. I didn't think they were skin.
I think that might just be a model issue in Pokemon Go.
I don't know. Pokemon Go has the nice models.
I mean, they're not that nice. But I was thinking like it could be like fur.
I would love it if they're not just fleshy tubes.
I think it's pretty safe to say that they're probably not fleshy tubes.
Well, I mean, Greninja's scarf is his tongue.
Yes.
So I think anything is on the table after that. He has a tongue scarf.
But also, I mean, it's not out of the ordinary to say that they could just be ribbons, since like there's plenty of Pokemon that they evolve and just get stuff. like Cinderace evolves and suddenly produces a soccer ball.
It's made of fire, but yeah, he did say it was soccer ball. Blastoise produces guns out of his back. That's
giant cannons,
pretty impressive.
So yeah, I'll be very interested. So I know we've gotten the moves for Blastoise, but definitely interested to see how he actually plays, since
I'm eternally surprised that he was a defender, but that's what he is.
I could see it. I mean, if it's going to be a lot of pushback, since that's kind of his thing. But yeah, just because I don't know how well people want to sit there during the beginner matches, like when you first learn how to play the game, and just sit there and like watch Squirtle and Wartortle.
Yeah, he was in there. Was very surprising. I have 2 theories. Either he's broke because he was in the beta, the Canadian beta, or wherever the beta was allowed to be played.
Oh.
He was in it. Blastoise was playable.
Huh.
So if he was playable and is being held back this long, and multiple Pokemon are coming out and he's being held back, he's either broken bad and they have to redo him a lot of work, or my other thought is that he's a very popular Pokemon and maybe they're saving the hype for the mobile release.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's the other thought, that they know people want to play him. So maybe people that have lost interest, that started and then lost interest, or people who just never picked it up and they're like, come play mobile. We've got Blastoise. Like that could be the thing.
That reminds me. So they talked about pre-registering for mobile. I don't know how that works. I tried looking today.
It's such a weird thing. I've seen other mobile games do that. Hearthstone did that same kind of thing before it came out on mobile, because it used to only be desktop, and it's just so weird. It's like just saying, I'm going to download this game when it comes out, and that's it.
Yeah. But like, it was weird.
I guess they like it because it gives them metrics. I don't know. I've seen several mobile games do it, and it's a very confusing thing to me.
Yeah. For like a company that's kind of got a game that they're may or may not be marketing to kids that they didn't include on any instructions on how to pre-register when they announced it.
Vague instructions and vague posts. That's apparently they do that all the time. So
that is fair.
On brand, on brands, right?
Yep.
Figure it out. Just right in there with the patch notes. Figure it out.
I was like, I work in digital advertising and I can't figure this out. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. I was surprised to see that. And then they did like a pre-register like goal thing too. Like if so many people pre-register, we'll give you this.
Oh
like,
yeah.
I've definitely seen that in mobile games, but that's usually something you see in like smaller ones that are really trying to hype up their game. Not something I would have expected from the Pokemon company, but like, okay, all right. I'll do it. I'll go pre-register.
Oh, weird. There we go. We just had a moment where I was dropping frames like.
Oh no. I thought I didn't have sound again. I was like, not again. NVIDIA, please.
No. Momentary issue. There we go. Oh, now it's back. Huh. Well, I mean that's actually fine because we're about to wrap things up anyway. Because we are.
The internet knew. The internet knew it was time.
It does. It really does. All right. So, thank you for joining me on this little.
Thank you for having me. This was very fun. I love talking about Pokemon Unite or HOTS, but yeah, I love to talk about the game and getting more opportunities to meet people and talk about Pokemon Unite, geek out about Blissey. Feels good.
Yeah. So aside from Aeos Clubhouse, do you have any other things you'd like to promote?
Well, besides Aeos Clubhouse, which is amazing, and I hope everybody goes and listens to it, you can find me on all of my places. I'm really easy. It's Kiyeberries, Kiye berries. I'm everywhere. Twitch, Twitter. I have 2 YouTubes, one for Pokemon Unite, one specifically for that, and then one for Heroes of the Storm. TikTok, I guess. All the places, just search for Kiyeberries. You can't possibly miss me. I'm the only one. And I would love to have everybody come in and we can talk about Pokemon.
There we go.
I'm super
I was trying to do a
Mamoswine. Yeah.
Shout out command in it. Wasn't working, so I don't know what's going on with Nightbot. Nightbot's
he's on
feeling spicy right now. So yeah. I posted your Twitch link in the chat. So for those listening to the audio version of this podcast, twitch.tv/Kiyeberries. And I will have that in the notes on the podcast episode as well. So we're going to wrap things up here. If you'd like to see more content from 8-Bit Adventures, let's see if this command works. Be sure to check out 8-bitadventures.com. Make sure to include the hyphen.
There he is. Nightbot has shown up for work.
I still can't get the other version of the website from that one guy. It's been like 6 years.
You're gonna have to go to Australia and fight him.
So this one is a French like film producer.
Oh, then I gotta go have to France and fight him too. You're gonna be all over the globe fighting people for your name.
Yeah, I contacted him like 6 years ago because his project like basically went nowhere. And he said in 2017 to get back to him with like an offer to buy it. And I've just been like, I'll just let you.
He's still just sitting on the domain all these years later.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. All right. that is something you could do.
If you'd like to help support this content, be sure to check out the Patreon over at patreon.com/8bitadventures. And finally, the opening theme to the podcast is One Up by Professor Shy Guy. You can find his work over at professorshyguy.bandcamp.com. And that wraps things up. So, thank you all for joining. Oh, and there's a Discord. There's a link in the chat. Go join the Discord.
Love it. Love to see these links.
As always, everyone, have fun, happy gaming, and enjoy your pie cake.